Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Abroad Show, Monday nights with the Pom and me. I'm your host Terry. It's good to be back. Pom, what's going on, mate? There's a bit of we've gone back in time, back to the origins of Blue Abroad tonight.
We've got, the white hoodie's back.
The white hoodie is back, bro.
It survived 6 war zones, multiple videos. Do you know what I mean? But it's here. We've got our heads shaved. Pre-season. It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is, mate. I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's I've really enjoyed the silence, to be honest. It's one of the quieter weeks of 2021 for the club, and I think at the start I was getting a little paranoid of like, oh, not doing anything. I'm just so used to doing something, but like the rest is crucial because there's a storm brewing, and 2022 is, before we know it, it's going to be here.
Well, I mean, it's been nice as well, hasn't it, to enter a draft period, and we've actually acquired talent in the trade period. And it's kind of like been this nice, relaxing month, hasn't it, where the draft now is kind of like just kind of a free hit for us because we've used a first rounder on Chera effectively. So it's nice. It's a weird feeling, isn't it, when there seems to be structure at Carlton, not panic.
It's like I don't know what to do with this calm.
like they had a plan and they've stuck to the plan, and it's kind of like you're meant to deviate from the plan and keep us in limbo.
I know. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. We've had freedom. You had a birthday. Before we start the show, let's wish you a happy birthday, mate. 36?
Yeah, I'm cracking on.
The dust is starting to fall out, mate.
Mate, I'm getting as old as sugar. As old as sugar now.
How was that? How was your birthday? I mean, we were not free at the time, but what was your 36th birthday like?
Well, I mean, like most dads, it was just kids, cake, and more kids. Really, it's more of a kid thing when you've got a few kids. To be honest, birthdays like they enjoyed themselves and Daddy just ate cake. I did get Cristiano Ronaldo though in FIFA finally. Okay. Everyone threw FIFA points at Daddy because they know that's his one relief. So that was the highlight. But no, it was a good one, just a nice relaxing one, and played a lot of Minecraft with the boys.
Love it. Well, we're going to touch on a few things tonight. We're gonna get some people into the show tonight for some fan cams. I'll put the link in for those of you who want to jump in and just have a chat about anything really. But we know how we start this show, so let's do it.
What's going on? Internet!
Martin's been very impressive.
Every single part.
They call the Carlton supporters and they thank you for the love.
Great sense of playing Glasgow. And there's a magic moment. Ball inside 50. Control! He strikes it beautifully.
Hey. Love it. Big thank you and shout out to the members of the Blue Abroad channel. Your support is very much appreciated as always. And looking forward to bringing you just more of the same. And there were a few more things coming up. I mentioned, Pom, I did a Q&A on the Instagram last night. And people were asking, like, what's coming up. There are quite a few questions that I didn't answer. But a lot of them were asking what's coming up. Those of you who are paid members, there will be additional value coming your way, especially those premiership members and finals members. So stay in touch. But again, thank you very much for your support, and looking forward to, I guess, consolidating all of that. We've got Corey Durden, Charlotte Wilson on board as player sponsors for those players. And yeah, mate, we're going to be entering year 4 now of the channel. What the hell?
Mate, look at the members. It's still going. Jesus, it's like the credit at Lord of Rings.
We'll be here for a couple of hours. We can't start the show yet.
Jesus, look at it. Well, that is unbelievable. That, I mean, from a McDonald's outside of Tel Aviv minefield to this, an empire has been built.
No, it's good fun. Mate, freedom. We were out. Did you get out and about this weekend? Did you enjoy the spoils of a little bit of freedom?
Well, I mean, we live just over the road from a footy oval, so I mean, like that has been our break. The only difference is that it feels less less awkward. I don't know about anyone else, but even if you're doing something within your legality, it seems like it was weird, doesn't it? Like I always felt like I was on like remand or something. But it was just being kind of nice to go out and just enjoy life. I mean, it is weird, isn't it? Because my wife went to go and get her nails done, and she had to prove she'd been vaccinated, which was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever seen. Her saying, "Oh, where do I find this information?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm not allowed in unless I've got the proof." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." But good to be back.
Yeah, it was a little bit kind of weird as well, because there was like capacity limits at venues. I went to a bar on Saturday, and it was just kind of like this whole process to get in, which kind of throws you off a little bit. You're waiting for so long to get in, then you get in, and it's like it's not full. But anyway, it is what it is. It's good to have some light at the end of the tunnel now. It's been a long process, but I'm excited because we're going to be gaining some more freedoms at the end of this week as well. And that bodes well for the footy, because it means we're going to be back at the footy round 1, 80,000 of us, absolute mad men and women. It's going to be good.
Yeah, watching a nice cruisy 8-goal win against the Tigers. Easy days. Easy dubs.
Easy days. Well, I'm not letting you get away with this, because you came up on here a few weeks ago talking your Manchester United shit, and all of a sudden, the Gunners are on equal points with United, baby. And I love Premier League all of a sudden.
I'll tell you what, I feel sorry for anyone except Liverpool fans who stayed up and watched that. Like, that is, I've got to say, I have never turned a game off ever in my life, no matter if you win or lose of any of my teams. At half time, that is the closest I've come to turning and going to bed. It's the closest. I stuck it out, took my medicine, but that was that. You saw how angry I was with Teague. If there was a Man United fan cam, the things I'd call Ollie at the moment would get me arrested.
Jeez. I did think of that, to be honest. I didn't stay up to watch it. I saw the highlights this morning, and all I could think of was the reaction on all the fan channels, really. Goldbridge and the like. It's interesting to see that passion.
Goldbridge, he needs shooting, because he put a tweet out at kickoff saying, "No Matip, no Fabinho, no Mane, they look beatable." No one can ever complain about a pommy call ever again after that.
I love it. Emilio, appreciate that, brother. Wildy, are we having a BA drink at Norton's? I don't know if it's going to be at Norton's, but we are absolutely going to have a BA drink. Stay tuned.
Been to Norton's for ages. That used to be the OG.
That was the spot. Well, that's where we used to film there.
Yeah, we used to. That was where I think every draft preview's been done. Directions to the toilet, like everything was done there.
It was. It absolutely was. Mate, let's begin. Let's talk a little bit about what's happened over the last week. We'll start with the AFLW because a few people asked about it last night, and there was an interesting piece of news or a development. I mean, first of all, we had Kes Harrington and Daniel Harford talk about the season coming up, and then we were told Serena Gibbs would be taking the whole season off. Something's happened, and she decided to step away for mental health reasons or whatnot. So obviously, I'm not going to prod into why. That's irrelevant to me right now. But I noticed it a bit. There was another one, Patrikios from St Kilda as well. And then you started to see this across the world. Naomi Osaka. It's starting to happen. Players or athletes are starting to really look within themselves and their mental health, and we're now well and truly in this era. What did you make of it?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's good that they come out and say this as well. I think years gone by, people would have just carried on playing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a big concern for me, that if they're staying quiet, it's never going to be good, is it? I think it's good that they do that. I mean, especially the St Kilda girl. I mean, she's a jet, a bona fide jet as well. So I mean, that's a huge news. It's sad, but I think in a way it should be applauded that we can have these open discussions. And it's accepted now. Because years gone by, players wouldn't have said that. And hopefully that bodes well for the men's game as well, that if we've got the girls doing it, the boys can feel safe as well and have these open discussions, because obviously it's been a tough 2 years, hasn't it? And I think it's put a lot of things around the world, if you look globally with sports people, started to put it in perspective a little bit as well, that sport's not everything.
I think there is something for it. Like a lot of the conversation at the moment also with Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving and, athletes with their stance on vaccines and whatever the case may be. And it serves, for me, it was just a reminder of, the business of sport sort of interjecting with the love of sport and the love of the game. And I think the Ben Simmons situation is interesting. I know we're going a little off topic and we're talking about the NBA, but I guess I'm curious, like, do you see that happening in Australia? Because everything seems to lag behind a little bit in Australia. We're a little bit slower to adapt to new ideas in just across everything. Do you picture a time in the AFL where player empowerment is at a level that it is in Europe and whatnot?
I think when you look at Ben Simmons, I can't. I think the AFL has too much player power when a player wants to move. Do you know what I mean? I think compared to the NBA, they move freely, but it is at the discretion of the club, and the club can do what Philly are doing, and that's hold him to ransom until they get the price. You look in the AFL, eventually Australia is a more laid back place in the terms of that when it gets to the close, the price will deduce and they'll just get rid of him. John Dawson, case in point, wanted to go. They played hardball, and then push comes to shove. Yeah, go. I think eventually you will do. I think when it's natural that it will evolve, won't it? That all sports evolve. Do I like it though? I think Ben Simmons, when he's turning up to training in his tracky dacks, doing a few behind the back, shooting some threes, which you've never seen him do in a game, and then doing it with his mobile phone in his pocket, he's taking the piss somewhat. But I'll bring the question to the fans. When you hear people like Embiid calling him, I don't care what that guy does, I always have this suggestion. Playing hardball is a good thing, but having that around your dressing room when you've got another star referring to him as that guy, like he's not part of my team, he's irrelevant to me. It's not healthy for a dressing room, is it?
No, absolutely. And then I think a little bit about, Sam Petrevsky-Seton, because it seems like that was something that was brewing from mid-year or early in the year. And I wonder, does the group know about it? I mean, I would assume that they do, and it's just kept under wraps. And I just wonder, how the club or how the AFL, what's in place to manage such situations. I mean, it's such a complex industry. And also must remember, the last 2 years have been a really complex time, and it's thrown everything. It's just thrown everything out of whack. So, yeah, I do wonder if we're going to see more developments with players taking more care of themselves or being a little bit more self-aware of when they're not right. And I guess I'm a little fearful in Australia because we're just very easy to judge. We're very easy to put labels on people. We almost look for it to sort of serve ourselves and make sure we're comfortable with where people sit in society. And I did like to, obviously I don't like to see that Serena Gibbs needs a year off for mental health reasons, but I like the fact that there is an environment where she can do that, where Patrikios can do that. And, they come first. So it was just an interesting one.
I think it'll be interesting though, as the years go on. I think this year as it goes on, I know there's a lot of golfers now because they've stayed at home for 2 years. It's changed a bit of the older players' mindsets of, do I want to go and tour for the next 2 or 3 years when I could stay at home and be with my family? I've kind of enjoyed it. Then you've also got the vax mandates where I know in England as well, there's a few players that don't want to do it. Freedom of choice. You heard Tom McDonald, him say the same thing, that he's having the vaccination, but he respects people's choice, and he's been heavily condemned for that, which I think personally is a bit unjustified. I understood what he's saying. Everyone has a freedom of choice, and we should respect that. But it's a weird thing because I think it's going to affect sport globally. When them vax mandates come, you've heard Novak Djokovic today has got a hall pass, which I find just mind-boggling that if you're high in the tree, you can get away with it. but if you're low on the tree, you can't. It's an
Mm.
interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting time in the world of sport that these rules come out. You're going to see a lot of, I think, retirements and people maybe not participating. It's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse's in here in the chat talking about it as well. Jesse, it's not something that we've been avoiding. It's just the situation's been developing. I guess, what would you do if one of our players just didn't want to get the vax and therefore had to retire or step down or whatever the case may be? I mean, I'm with you. I like the way Tom McDonald spoke, and I encourage and I like it when players speak, and especially those that have intelligence to speak. We almost push them to be real and to tell the truth and not give the cliche answers. And then when they do, we just tweet at them with our fake anonymous accounts and just go for it. It's a very weird melting pot at the moment, but that could be a reality. We might see some players that don't want to do it. I don't know what the percentage of players that'll be. I think it'll be very minute, but it could be real.
I'm fairly consistent. You know me, I'll tell you how it is, and I'm not really ashamed of it. I'm vaccinated. I hope every player gets vaccinated, and I hope everyone who can get vaccinated. If they don't get vaccinated, do I care? No, it's their choice. And if they retire, they retire. I mean, it's their choice. I've got to stand by freedom of speech and freedom of choice. If you don't want to, that's on you. I can only apologise what I do. Do you know what I mean? I can only apologise. I can only be accountable for what I do. But I think you're going to see some people. I don't think it'll be big, though. I don't think it'll be big. I think people are aware. I think Australia has embraced this as we're in it together. And I think that's a wonderful thing about our community. We're in it together, and I think everyone will do their part. But if they don't, they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not going to argue with them.
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, for me, I want to leave the country, so it's that's really what it's all about. I mean, I remember went to Africa, got the yellow fever injection. That was a mandatory vaccine as well. So anyway, it is interesting. We'll keep a tab on it and see how it develops from here. But always an interesting chat. And then just to round out the AFLW chat, I mean, got asked last night, like, what do we expect from the AFLW team this year? And I don't know. Like, I feel like the leadership and the responsibility of the team has now been sort of given to more of a select few than what it was last year, because there's just been so many senior players that have gone. And I don't know what to expect. I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of a short-term pain for long-term gain. What are you seeing at the moment?
Well, I think they'll be disappointed with the way that last year went. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll be disappointed. I think they've lost a few players. I mean, obviously the big one being Big Taylor. She went to Melbourne. I think they'll be all right. I think you look at the core makeup of that side; it's still strong. I mean, when you've got Maddie there as well, she's such a talent. You're always a chance. I'd be quite bullish. I think they'll try and hope to sneak into the finals, be there or thereabouts, build a style of play. But it's a young list. It's a young list with a lot of. It's almost like the men's in a way. It's
the responsibility is on a really young group of players.
It's a baby list with a hell of a lot of game time. So it'll be interesting. But they've got some real strong. They're strong down the back, strong in the middle. And hopefully they can just build, and I think they'll fancy themselves to sneak into the finals. They seem very bullish. And I like that from the girls. They seem very bullish.
That's not like a Carlton Football Club team.
Well, I mean, they just do, don't they? But I mean, then again, the whole vibe around Carlton seems a little bit different to the Carlton I'm used to.
It's true. Very true. It is. But no, I'm excited for that. They'll get kicking off in about a month. I think they'll start ramping up, and then January the season starts. So looking forward to that. Let's talk a little bit about Michael Voss. There was we've had a month of a new coach now. Can you believe that? He did an interview, or he chatted with Carlton Media about his first month. And maybe before we do that, I want to talk again, which I've brought it up before, but I want to show a little clip from the Dynasties documentary. And again, if you guys haven't been watching the show over the last few weeks, the AFL on their website have I think it's a series called Dynasties, and the Brisbane Lions is the first feature. It goes for about an hour, and it basically shows, it's a bit of a documentary of of what made them so great, and it talks to all the players. So I just want to play this little clip. This was about Michael Voss as captain before they started winning, and in this particular instance, he was shaking hands with James Hird and then having a bit of a smile after a game. So let's have a listen to this.
James Hird shaking hands and maybe having a bit of a laugh. Well, Lee showed that in the review post-game. He played that a couple of times, might have rewound it. And at the end of it, the message was clear to Vossy that, follow me, son, and I'll teach you how to be a captain. But we don't stand for that here at this footy club. We don't accept losing. And that was one of the messages as an 18-year-old impressionable kid. They really hit home, and they stay with you for your whole career.
It's a great documentary, that.
Great document. I mean, there's so many clips that I wanted to show. I might show a few more next week, but this is just a reinforcement for me about what he can do for Patrick Cripps. I know it's not about one individual. I know it's about the collective, but leadership, and I just see so many similarities between what we do now and what the Lions were doing, pre-2000.
Yeah, spot on. And I think one thing that the huge takeout of that was how Voss, you kind of hear the story of how Voss turns from young boy to man. And I think it's kind of a metaphor for Carlton, isn't it? That their journey is kind of twins with Voss. Do you know what I mean? He grew from young player, great player. Then he went from the young coach, failed coach, gone back and earned his stripes. It's kind of a myriad, isn't it? Because it's a second chance for Voss, probably a second chance for these players. It's a beautiful similarity in the tale. He helped Wines become good again. Cripps, he stagnated. Can he come back? There's a lot of micro plots. So it would be a great movie, Carlton 2022, wouldn't it? It would be. You'd go and watch it.
If ever we were going to sign up for an Amazon documentary, it's 2022.
Isn't it? You can see it, can't you? AFL got this in the works. Amazon Prime documentary. Who plays Voss? Answers on the back of a postcard.
Well, but let's talk a bit about what he said and what's happened. I mean, obviously, he's now met with all the players, and he's met with club greats and whatnot. But the quote here that got me was about how he stressed the importance of the personal side of the game, with the implementation of the game plan a clear focus when the preseason rolls around on the 22nd of November. He said the ensuing weeks would be understanding the playing group away from the field, to spend time understanding each other and the story that we have to tell. That's where you form the first part of your identity. When you're really clear on that, you can take that out and play on the football field. I've spent a bit of time doing that, but also getting some perspective of where we've been in the last 12 months. While on the outside it may not look great, I look at it with optimism. And you brought this up just before we went live about the collective over the individual. So what was your take on that?
Well, I mean, I thought it really hit me home, because it was kind of like what everyone in the group on here has said, fans throughout the year, about we rely on individual brilliance. And he said individual brilliance helps you win games, but it's going to be the collective that gets you over the line consistently. The way forward has to be a collective moment, and therein lies the challenge. There's a lens on everything, but this is our dance floor. This is our theatre. That's where we go out and perform, and it's important that we stay connected together. Being able to go out there and play out as a united team is paramount to success. And I think that, to me, hit home. The games we win, we rely on big games from Walsh, big games from Harry. And even our top 10 of our best and fairest kind of said there was a disconnect between the big three and the rest. And I agree with him. And I think hearing some of the players talk, especially at the John Nichols medal, where they kind of were surprised Voss took an interest in their story, like it's never happened before, which I think is a no-brainer. Like, when I took over my team at work, that was my first week. Who are you? What are you about? Tell me about what you've done here. Do you like it here? How did you find this job? It's learning to know your troops, and then them learning your story and finding a common goal and a common ground. And I think it's really exciting, because it actually feels like something's been done right for a change, not half-arsed.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is it is absolutely go time now. There's no, I mean, we're investing in contracts with players in a way that suggests this is the window. We've added experience in terms of when we've drafted such players and them getting to that point in their career where they're able to impact games, at the peak of their powers. It's just kind of like the perfect storm. It's just about putting it all together now. Because and I say this all the time, I know I might be biased, but I just see the pieces all there. But also within that, it's interesting because I still think we do need a little bit of luck, a little bit of good luck. Now, good luck doesn't just come. I'm a big believer in, hard work creates good luck, and real hard work. Not, you don't, the boys are working hard, like serious hard work that actually takes you so far out of your comfort zone that it scares you. And that's just the hope. I mean, I am excited. Yes, it feels different. Yes, there is more interaction with the modern audience and all of that. But now that that's all now that we've got the appointments done, I'm starting to remember, hang on, 2021 was really bad. And again, Vossi said it there. On the outside, it looks bad, but he's got optimism. Well, I think we will all have that optimism when we see it.
No, I'm with you. I mean, about luck, an old golf coach of mine told me that the golfing gods punish the meek and reward the strong. And in reference to that, he used to say those who are aggressive and bold will get the lucky bounces. If you start playing shots that are tentative and a little bit meh, you'll get punished. And I think that's the same in any sport. If you're adventurous and bold, you kind of get the rub of the green. You look at the great teams in history, bounces seem to favour those aggressive attempts. If you're aggressive and bold, you seem to get the bounce, the rub of the green, the calls. I think for me, and I was speaking to a scout friend of mine, and we were talking about South Australian talent, and they've got battered quite a bit by the WA counterparts. And a lot of the AFL media are talking about these kids are tainted coming from South Australia because they haven't performed. And he said to me, don't read into that. It was like talent, still talent, even in a shit side. And it's hard to judge this talent when they're surrounded by seagulls. You don't know the Eagles. And I think that's a good case with Carlton this year. Hearing Nick Austin say that Voss wanted to see this list in action for another year excited me, because you've got to be honest with yourself. David Teague didn't have a Scooby-Doo, right? There was no tactics. You don't know if Dow's improved because he's never been given to his strengths. His strength is receiving the ball on the run and hitting up targets in space, breaking lines. He hasn't been given that role for the football club in 2 years. Lockie O'Brien's a wingman. Wingmen get 15 to 20 touches, skirting the packs. Look at Carl Amon. He doesn't know what a contest is. He thinks a contest is trying to get toilet paper in South Adelaide during a lockdown. But Lockie O'Brien has to go and get his own ball. I was watching 2 of his games. 7 of his touches, he's had to run back inside. Wingmen don't do that. So the truth is, a lot of these young players haven't played in their best position to their best ability. Adelaide play their best players to their strengths, not their weaknesses. And that is what excites me. He talks about roles. Everyone's been given a defined role. You're going to see it. And I think everyone on this list deserves another year, because half of them have been mistreated and abused by an apathetic leader. So let's go for it.
Yeah, that's why I liked that we didn't give up on Lockie O'Brien and even Cottrell to an extent. I know there was a bit of talk about Gibbons and maybe he deserved another year, but I mean I'm past that boat now. I've forgotten about that already. But well, yeah. Thanks, bro.
Fuck him and
no,
Cookie.
Yeah, well, that's it. Once you don't wear the Guernsey, you're an enemy. That's just the way it is. We say it. Players will come and go. The fans will stay forever. That's kind of the way it is. And this is what happens when a club fails and you lose people that you love. So that's a good segue into the list, because Nick Austin did a bit of an interview as well, and he wrapped up the trade period and spoke a bit about the draft coming up and answered some key questions. And Pom, this is the area that you love to as well. I mean, I don't know, maybe Nick Austin's watching you, mate, because we're getting a lot of the same quotes from you and him. It's very interesting.
Same person, never been seen in the same room.
Never been seen in the same room. It seems like pick 25 will stay at pick 25. We're going to go there. And he says, we feel like with this draft and the lack of exposure, there's going to be a blanket thrown over a group of players, probably from pick 7 onwards, We've done a lot of work in that 10 to 40 range, and we feel like we're sitting in a really good spot to get a player we really like, and we'll add to our group. The next part was, how many players are we going to be selecting, and what's the focus? This was interesting. So, as I said, he mentioned that we'll definitely use the first pick and then work through some upgrades potentially at the back end. We think that it's a really good draft for midfield depth and around the square types. We're still looking to improve that running capacity around the midfield and their ball use, as well as someone who can go forward and have impact in the front half. We want to look at that mid-forward group and improve that running capacity in ball use. So when I read that, or when I heard that, my first reaction was, okay, yep, makes sense, wingman. But the mid-forward comment was interesting, because isn't that something we've, on the surface we have?
I think we do. What I took out that from Mr. Austin there is, I think he's actually identified the missing link, and I think we do lack actual outside players. I think you look at the top teams now, that is a very specialist position that gets you away from the contest. Carlton, as a fan base, have been so poor as a club. We think inside football is important, but the top teams get the ball and get it on the outside as quickly as possible. And I agree with Austin about the talent. At the moment, the midfield outside run in Victoria, especially, due to lack of game time, is sliding. There's a few players that tickle my fancy. Darcy Wilmot is a great example. 17 years old, 18 on New Year's Eve. Captain of Vic Metro. He's a baby. Dashing halfback, midfield wingman. Kind of in that Doc mode. Very similar to that. But a guy that in the projection last year was top 10. Now 25 to 35. The interstate teams aren't going to touch Victorians unless they're ridiculous. So it's an exciting time, because 25, I guarantee you, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, guarantee you now, one of them will be top 5 when you redraft this in 10 years.
That's where it is interesting. And that's where I guess we were happy to part with pick 6, because it meant getting a chairer in a draft for the second year, where these kids have been, they have been compromised with their ability to play to their full potential because of the pandemic. But also, I'm not sure if you can answer this, but what I'd love to know is, what are we using to make to get our information? Like, is it purely human beings? Is it purely subjective opinions on players and who's got the eye and whatnot, or are we using an algorithm? Are we using data? I believe only Adelaide use actual data and algorithms at the moment. Do you know much about that?
Well, top clubs, Adelaide for starters, they use the old method. They've got old guys that go out there and use their eye. They then mix that with analytical data, which is what the majority of sports do now. Analytical data produces results. And then also what they do is they have an identification of 6 or 7 key numbers that they're looking for. You've got to remember that even though Victorians haven't played a lot, there's a lot of data out there. There's a lot of eyes. But I mean, genuinely in 2021, you are going to find more talent using new methods than you are old. That's why the success rate in drafts worldwide now is higher than it's ever been, because maths doesn't lie. The eye lies. People get infatuated. A great example would be Joshua Cripps. The eyes and the heart lie. They see the name. They see his brother. In reality, though, as a footballer, a long way away from it. It's a bit like Henry Walsh. Met with all 18 clubs last year. No one picked him up. So a lot of the eye scouts had him going top 30. A lot of the data scouts had him undrafted. So they were right. So, I mean, it's an interesting one, but genuinely that's how the clubs do it. They have a mixture of both. And then obviously Nick Austin will listen to his recruitment agents and make a decision based on that. Maybe go and see some himself, video footage, you'd hope. But it's an exciting time, because I think this list in the 25s, he's right. Outside of the top talent, I would say outside of the top 6 talent, there is a blanket. Like, there is question marks about all of them. And we are taking mid-outside forwards at the highest success rate in AFL drafts at getting them right. easy to get right.
I see. Well, I mentioned the quote here as well, where he said we work through some upgrades potentially at the back end. So don't we have to pick 3 players in the draft? Isn't that how it works?
During to COVID, they've changed it so that now is 3 picks over free agency, restricted free agent, pre-season draft, and the national draft. Now, incidentally, Carlton promising O'Brien and Cottrell a rookie deal takes Carlton's rookie category A list to 8 when the maximum can be 6.
Gotcha.
Carlton need to pick up 3 players to make the senior quota of 36. So what it sounds like when he said the upgrade is, we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, the upgrades will be the rookie picks. So what he'll do is he will upgrade 2 rookies, burning the last 2 picks in the draft in the national draft for Carlton, which he can then promote rookies under that system to the senior spot, which then brings our category A down with 2 spaces to take O'Brien and Cottrell, and Carlton make the list quota. So I'd imagine Carlton take 1 pick pending any changes on the list for injuries. But I'd imagine you'll get 1 pick, that's it, and a category B pick probably in the rookie draft, which or could be late. Dom Akakui could come through as well.
Yep. Okay. The last one about from there was he mentioned about the where are we here? Oh, thinking 12 months into the future. So he spoke about the strategy. He said, strategy-wise, we want to go to the draft next year and keep our picks together, especially at the top end. We've had a couple of years where we added players through the trade period, especially in that 22 to 26 age gap where we felt there was a real need. We also felt there were specific roles and traits that we brought in. Now it's time to consolidate the list. We've had a good group come through via the draft that, due to hubs, scratch matches, COVID and injuries, haven't had a good look at it yet. We'll give that group every opportunity with a new coaching group to move forward. We'll know a lot more about our list in 12 months' time and be in a position to go to the draft. So it looks like, or it seems like, the way I read that, it doesn't look like we're going to be trading that. We're not going to be looking to do what we did with Sard and Chero next year in, looking to absolutely fill that age gap. We're going to go to the draft next year and sort of resume. So it seems like we've gone heavy draft and then recruit senior players. Now we're going to go back to the draft next year, which, again, clear strategy.
Yeah, and I always try and be ahead as the draft guy here. Looking ahead to next year, you've got a lot. And when I say a lot, you've got a lot of key position players. So that would smell to me, particularly in the top 10, 15 picks, there's about 6 or 7 Victorians that are tall. About 3 of them are key defenders, which would then smell that Carlton are doing the right thing in acquiring a key defender to replace Jones, because they'll know Jones will be 31, 2-3 years left max for him, maybe 2. You get a top 10 pick, you may get lucky and you may get a Harris Andrews, you may get a Jacob Wheatering, 2-year, blood him, get him ready. He's got a good person to learn off in Jonesy. Bang, we've got our future replacement. So good strategy for Carlton, because next year we've got one end sorted. There's just that question mark on Jones because he can't go on forever, bless him. Yes. So you can find a young 18-year-old and he hits the bill. You've got a decade pillar with all of them.
It's true. It's very true. Before we move on to the next topic, I'm going to put the link into the comments right now. Would love to chat with anybody who wants to come and ask a question, and whether it's about Carlton or whatever it is, just come on and have a chat with us. We'd love to hear from whoever. If you usually come on, please come on. But if you are new, and we've had a few newbies come on over the last month, and you've been waiting for your time to come on and have a chat, this is it. We're calling you in. Pom, the next thing I wanted to talk about before we bring some people on is there were some questions. I don't know if this is too early to talk about it, but guys, people were asking last night about like who's going to break out next year, like who's it going to be. It's a common question, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, it's not necessarily make or break for individuals per se. It's just more about, like, at the end of the day, it's just time for a real solid group to just become the players that they're capable of becoming. Not necessarily superstars or all of that. I think I've now gotten that out of my head that everyone's going to be a star. It's just about, can they become the players they're capable of becoming? And who are some of those for you?
Tough one. Tell you what, you got to pick names out now. I've got a sneaky feeling that the big breakout star next year will be Brodie Kemp. I've got a feeling that my big pom call, round by the bye, Kemp displaces Plowman as the first choice intercept defender.
Wow.
I've got a feeling that Kemp breaks out. I think there was enough of him last year to say to me, wow, this kid's got something. He's really embraced the role. You've heard him talk about it. He loves being a defender. It's what his natural position is. Him and Stocker have got that same mindset as well. They don't really care about the midfield time. They want to get there eventually, but they just want to play and cement a role for the club. I've just got a feeling that Kemp is going to be that guy that's going to be like, wow. Like round 12, you're just going to be, wow, this kid's there. Because he can defend, but them little spins he does, he adds that other injection. And when you've got a big monster like him who can move like him, it's a difficult matchup. So he excites me. I've got a feeling that he'll be that. I also feel like he worked hard on his ground game last year. It was a bit dodgy at times, but our leading tackler in the forward 50, I've just got a feeling that a lot will be expected of him. We know Eddie Betts. I think he will go up a level, and I reckon I'll see 25 plus goals from Matty Owies.
Mate, that'd be unreal. I always look at, breakout players and what I always personally look at, like the last 6 to 8 weeks of a season, especially for a young team. And like I remember, like my whole thing this year with Walsh was that he was so good in the last 6 to 7 games of 2020, where he started kicking goals and he started really asserting himself. That was kind of like the formula that I went on. And when I think about the team now and this year, and who showed something like that, I think the one that stood out the most for me was Jack Silvani. His last 4 to 6 weeks were exceptional. Now, albeit he was playing in the ruck, and I don't really know what position he's going to play under Voss, but just his ability to impact the game, that was the one that really stood out for me. And I back him in to do it for the whole season next year. Obviously if he just stays healthy, because he seems to unfortunately get some unluck come his way early in years. But I think Stocker as well. He seems to have his legs beneath him, and he's an interesting one because it's like, what are they going to do with him? Are they going to keep him in defense? Is it still part of his development? How long until, like, is he ever going to be a midfielder? Obviously, it's whatever the team needs, and we love that. We love that attitude, but like really, like, where do we see the future of him? It's exciting. That's what excites me.
Oh, I mean, there's a few people up there for that midfield berth, isn't there? I'd imagine Stocker as well is the kind of guy that Voss looks at and says, he's tough, he's hard at it, no nonsense, gets his head over the pill. I wouldn't be surprised, because that's one thing we lack as a football club against the best 8 is their rotations and their matchups and their ability to handle different matchups. We were the most one-dimensional midfield unit in the AFL last year, if you exclude injuries in-game, changing things. So I think that's something that Voss will bring. Port Adelaide are a very heavily rotating side. I won't be surprised to see a little bit of Stocker Cripps on ball action at times, because you look at Port, one thing they do well is nail it. If the game gets away from them, you get the big boys come on, the slow, cumbersome players, they slow the game down, they soak up a little bit of like a boxer leaning when the opponent gets a head start, lean on them a bit, and then they go back to that beautiful style of play. So I expect to see that next year.
Yeah, I've even got high hopes for Kennedy next year. I believe in what I saw. I believe the penny dropped, and I believe he's going to keep his spot in the side. I just have a different feel to what I saw, because he also showed some things in 2020 as well. He was sort of up and down, but he showed enough to get that 2021 contract. But I think he's another one, and I know a lot of people have written him off, but Will Setterfield, for me, he's got all the tools he needs to, if he's playing as an inside mid. And that's going to be the question. What are they going to do with him?
Yeah, I agree. I think our New Zealand buddy Jeff and big Chris Pesaurus I always get his name wrong.
The Greeks get you, mate.
but two legends, they're saying Fisher, and I think they've nailed it as well. He'd be another guy. I think the Eddie Betts leaving gives a huge opportunity to your Cunners, to your Fisher, to your big mates like Owies, Durden, Honey. These guys will be looking at that and saying, nah, you know what? I'm taking that space. I'm locking that down. And Fisher, he's got the talent, just can't put it on the park all the time. So I think Fisher's a great shout.
Yeah, I'm very partial to a bit of Zach Fisher, as we all know.
You love him. He's one of your boys.
All right, we've got a few people in the waiting room. We had a guy named Jar just in there, full face mask, can't see anything. Like, I know where this is going, mate. You're not
people. You're better than this. Like, honestly,
this, mate. We're seasoned veterans now. We're not getting any of these dick pics in here. We got Beachy in. Hello, mate.
How are we, boys?
We're great.
Big Beach.
We are fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, good. So just a quick report. I was actually in Liam Stocker's stream earlier this afternoon, and he was actually training with Dow, O'Brien, and Kemp. And apparently he said that O'Brien actually kicked his ass. So that makes me wonder if O'Brien was putting some hard work off the field.
Well, it's that. See, I love the fact that he's on the rookie list. I just think there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's okay, he was a pick 10. It hasn't quite worked out yet. He's now on the rookie list. Would he have wanted to be on the rookie list when he was drafted 4 years ago? Obviously not. But what a great opportunity for him to just put his all into this preseason and have the best year of his career. Have the best season of his career. I just think things like this happen in life, and they make you. They really make you. He's either going to make it or he's not. And isn't that what life's all about? Not knowing and putting yourself in a situation where you don't know what your future is, but you're going to give it a crack anyway.
Exactly right. And there's nothing wrong with having a crack, mate. Even if it's on the field or off the field with some of your training buddies, like what Tucker was saying earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, you see, what I love about that as well is I've noticed through the Insta is a lot of the players are back at work now, which they haven't done for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Usually at this stage, I've got soppy yacht pictures. I've got people...
The racers in the bird cage.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I've got clowns at Bali on the beach. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sat here with me kids eating some chocolate chip cookies and a cup of tea, right? But it's good that they're back. Like, for me, that says to me, I've got to do it. Because, to be honest, last year was a disappointment. And champions get back on the horse. They don't dilly-dally and have a cry in the press saying, oh, but I love David Teague. They go back to work. They say, I'm going back to work now. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the camaraderie. And I love what you said there, that O'Brien was working with Stocker, because one thing about O'Brien, do you remember the Brisbane game, Chris, when he squared up to Mitch Robinson and it was the only one? And Mitch Robinson laughed in his face. But I always enjoyed the fact that O'Brien protected his mates. Like, if Mitch Robinson wanted to fight O'Brien would die. But I rate that he stood up to him.
Yeah, we all saw that, Dan. We all saw that. It might not have been noticed straight away, but we know about it.
Like, I felt bad for him. Do you know what I mean? I honestly felt bad for him because I was like, oh my God, he's going to die here.
Yeah.
like someone pull him away. But honestly, I always said to myself, that changed my opinion of him, because I was like, he's got the love of his team. He's willing to put himself in harm's way to stick up for what's right. So I love his working with Stocker, because I think Stocker could learn something off O'Brien to try and find the space, to actually find space. And that's something O'Brien does with the ball well. He looks for space, where Stocker can teach him how to use his body against bigger opponents, because that's something that Stocker, I think, is underrated. He can match up on a big guy, and he uses his body well. So I like that matchup.
I was listening. I mean, obviously, I'm a big listener of the Ian Prendercast, and they're fans of Lockie O'Brien. Sean talks about it as well. And the notion that they brought up throughout the year on their podcast was about, Lockie O'Brien was just, it seemed like he was punished for that he had that moment in round one, middle of the ground, the bright lights. He just sort of fumbled it, just didn't take the moment and didn't go hard enough, or whatever the case may be. He just got caught out in a moment. It was just a poor moment, and they all have them. And he seemed to be punished for that throughout the whole year. And I'm just glad that I really do enjoy when players don't get their way and they stick tough. The Kennedys, and I'm hoping Lockie O'Brien can turn it around and can become a contributor, can become a player in the best 22, because we need those stories amongst the group. We don't have too many of them.
No, that's exactly right. And I'm actually kind of hoping, and I'm touching wood as I say this, that this is the kick in the ass that he needs. Right? Yeah. This is a former 10 pick, as we've been saying earlier. And as I said, he's been working with Dow, he's been working with Stocker, and he's been working with Kemp. Now, Dow, as far as I'm aware, has also been tracking well according to Stocker, and so has Kempy. So everybody's learning off each other by the sound of it in that group, which I'm loving to hear.
Yeah.
You've got to remember as well, O'Brien's got a second crack at it. Do you know what I mean? He's probably lucky in some states that he's got the job. He's got the job. Do you know what I mean? He's got another crack. And yes. Kennedy would be the example. Most people thought he'd be delisted. He took that rookie spot. He's got another chance. If I was Austin, the best thing that could happen to him is saying, mate, next year, I'm going to go out and buy Karl Amon. I'm going to go and get Karl Amon. Make me write the check I'd write for him on you having a full-time contract. We need pace. We need width. Buckle down. Play football, yeah? Play football. Yeah. And this comment here from Gavin nailed. He needs confidence. None of this play 2 games and delist him. Drop him. Someone needs to go round 1. You guys who are new, Kemp, O'Brien, you've got 6 games. No pressure. But it's 6 games to cement your place.
Yeah, that's a great call, actually. And, if they continue to learn off each other, well, then, they might not just be pushing the door down. They'll be kicking that door down off its hinges to stay in that side.
Yeah.
Agree with you, mate.
And also, he's got one of the things that I think the group needs, and that is a good kick. I know people have talk like Tony in the comments here is talking about the need for speed and we need more leg speed. Whereas I think we have plenty of leg speed. I think good kicking is better than good running. I think the ball moves quicker than the human. So if O'Brien can just get that, the fitness base, the mentality there, use that left peg. We saw it against St Kilda, but I mean, these are big ifs right now. I'm not holding my hat on. I'm just hoping more than anything else. But good kicking is crucial for this group.
Well, I mean, we've employed midfield coaches, development coaches. They're the issue. Like Tony says here, development is key for all players. Nailed it. We've been saying it for 5 years. They have got more development coaches there than a kindergarten at the moment. So I'm telling you now, if Lockie O'Brien can't do it in a system that Voss invented at Port, which is see ball, get it on the outside and get it going, which is O'Brien's game, which is Dow's game. If they don't cut it now, they'll never cut it. Quite simple. Yeah. I will wager now, if they don't make the grade now, their AF career is done, Ski. Yeah. Because if you can't do it under Voss's system, you ain't doing it. So for me, sky's the limit now, isn't it? Sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. Because shall we say, if they were at someone like a Sydney or a Brisbane or a West Coast, you're not getting another look in. You've got at least 1 year on that list. And if you don't break in, you're done straight away.
Spot on, mate. I mean, that's it now. Opportunity here. There's a lot of players, I would say. I know Terry doesn't like using the phrase make or break, but I would say there's about 6 to 8 players on this list that quietly, this is their last chance. This is their last chance. And I would be saying that to them. This is your last chance. I'm going to give you the opportunity, but no one's going to touch you after this. No one's going to touch you after this because it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, that's right.
What else is happening in your world, Beachy?
Well, not much, mate. I mean, we've all just been quietly ticking away, seeing what the next bits of news will be coming from the club. I mean, AFLW season kicking off soon. If we can get everything underway, that's fine. Otherwise, it's business as usual, boys.
Love it.
We love it, Beach.
Love your work, mate. Let's chat again soon.
Done. Thanks, boys.
All right, mate. See ya.
I won't be that serious, Chris. Last chance I'll go to North Korea. Not sending anyone there yet.
It's not like a Greek to take it to the extreme. I love it.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot of players. Like Beachy nails it. I think there's a lot of opportunity, isn't there? This football club now for players.
Yes, correct. Well, it's a fresh slate. We spoke about it last week, I think, with Rash and with Ramo, and we spoke about when Teague came in, he was already part of the Bolton regime, so to speak, and he also had relationships with guys who he had played with and coached for, and I'm not sure if there was any truth to it, but I know that there was definitely a notion amongst the fans about, he has a connection with Mitch, with Eddie, with Murph, guys who he had played with or coached for, and that's not there right now. It's the proper clean out that maybe needed to happen after Bolton. It's like we did what we needed to do 2 years ago.
You see, there's a difference, and today Roy Keane described Man United in a great way, and he said that the Man United team want to win for Ollie because they like him. They don't need to win out of respect for him. And I thought that was a great quote from him, because that is David Teague. When they won games and they ruffle the coach on the head, I've never seen that, because in the UK, you ruffled your coach on the head, your head's going through the concrete wall. Like there's a bit of respect between you and the coach. That to me said more like, your mate who's under a bit of cosh, and you're like, oh, it's all right, mate, don't worry about it. Like that is, I thought, the case in point. These players have never had direction. And I don't mean to be harsh. If you criticise any of the players that are on the list now, you can't count the last 2 years, because that, if you don't believe me, listen to the pundits. It was a tactical shambles. And if you played any form of team sport, if you're tactically inept and you're set up to lose before the game started, you can't take too much responsibility on the players. Players can have common sense, but they can't work miracles. Can't work miracles.
I remember that. I remember talking with you about that when it happened, Teague's birthday, and they interrupted the presser. And I actually discussed this with my housemate not long ago, a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Nah, it's nothing." Well, no, I don't think that'll happen with Voss. I don't think that'll happen with Clarko. None of the really respected coaches. You won't see players interrupting a press conference for such things to celebrate a birthday. You do that in house. They probably do that sort of stuff in house. And it's interesting looking back on that, and reflecting on it, and potentially the symbol of it back then and what it means now, and if it would happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I always think a great leader is close but not close enough.
Yeah.
So I think, what he's doing now, building relationships, hearing what they're about, what's your family do, what type of person you are, that's amazing. Going out on a beer with these guys, not so much. Do you know what I mean? There should be. I look at my boss at work. I like him, but we don't go out for a beer every day. Do you know what I mean? We have that professional working relationship. He knows my kids, I know his, but we do a job together. And that's it. I wouldn't have the banter I have with you and the wonderful audience with him, because he'd sack me. But I will have banter with him that's a bit downplayed. And I agree with you. Ruffling heads, interrupting him, that's your boss. And it's all right, people saying, "Oh, it's a football club." Yeah, but it doesn't happen in EPL, does it? And we're talking a multi-billion-dollar industry, not a $1 million industry. There's always been respect between the man and the player. They're two different things. And it's a professional respect. Honestly, I watched that game back, when we beat St Kilda, and Cripper's hey, you do to your little brother. When you've told your little brother he's not getting a PlayStation, but then he does, and you're like, "Hey, he got you, mate."
I can't wait to be 5-0 next year, and they're ruffling Vossi's head, and we're talking about it completely different.
Going, how good's that? How good's that, man?
Oh, they love each other. Look at the buy-in. We're sick, mate. We're sick puppies.
Mate, we're winning finals next year, man. Honestly, let's just put this to rest. If you're negative now, have yourself a beer. It's okay. Uncle Pommy is here. Voss is leading us to finals, baby.
Mate, don't be. You'll be apologising to the people by round 6.
Finals. Honestly, without a doubt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel it. I feel it, ladies and gentlemen. It's back.
Yeah. Surely, right? Surely. It has to be. It doesn't. It's just such a big off season because people. I think also as well. This is different in the sense that there's no. I don't feel as much hype. Maybe it's just a personal take. Like last year, a lot of hype. Zach Williams, Adam Sard, whatever. The COVID 2020. The year before that, there was hype before the preseason. Even before the 2018 season, there was hype. Even once we played a few games and Charlie Curnow, burst onto the scene early in the season. But I feel like with this preseason that we're having right now, there's just like a real shitty taste in the mouth. And there's just a shitty memory, which I think is good because I don't think anyone is overhyped going into next year. I really don't. I think we've removed ourselves from this Cripps is Carlton situation, which sort of humbles the expectations a little bit. And I think they can almost overachieve from the expectations because we're not overhyping them.
Mate, spot on. I think for me, and I know we've got a lot of, because I'm getting a lot of stick in the crowd, about Australian Liverpool fans, they're everywhere. But Liverpool history, you've had some great coaches, some of the greatest coaches the game has ever seen. And you listen to Shankly, you listen to then, the United greats, Ferguson, Busby, how they talked. And it was matter of fact and process. They didn't go out and say, we're going to win a flag, we'll win a Premier League, win a Division 1 title. They just told you what we've got to do because the end product is obvious. And I think little things you hear, like from Voss, like hope breeding belief. This is a great quote from him, and he nailed it for me. It should give us a lot of hope. We understand that hope may take a bit of time to build, and energy, and that shift in energy. We've got to go, though, and earn the right of respect. I really hope that this team turns belief really quick, and confidence will thrive and will make inroads in the season. That is spot on. Like, where before Teague was like, oh, we'll win a few ground ball gets. Don't worry, we spent 3 months doing forward pressure tackles. The end of season, worst forward pressure tackles Carlton have ever delivered. But he said for 3 months they were working on it. But it's all right. He looks like the dude from Wayne's World. This guy's talking about football, talking about processes that they're a fragile little flower at the moment, these boys. All they've ever known is being crap. That's all they've ever known. Cripps, he is a specialist in failure. Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately for him, specialist in failure. But now it's the time to believe in each other, come together and be like, you know what? That's what's happened. This is what will be. Because champions don't think about, I was shit last year. I was shit the year before. They think about, I'm winning that flag. And I hope Cripper, because he's hanging around with Stephen May and Petrarca at the moment, I hope it's killing him. Seeing their big smiles, them going, hey, I'm a finals player, hey, I've won a flag. I hope it burns him because when he comes back, he's taking it back.
I mean, you look at the last 3 years. I mean, you look all the way, go back to when we had that, State of Origin tribute match for the Fires, right? And you look at what's happened in the landscape of the stars of the league. You've had Bontempelli's had his time. Then he had a little bit of a down patch, and then now he's back to the peak of his powers. It seems. Petrarca, Oliver, Cripps is in that group, no doubt. He's as good as any of them. I still have full belief. I think we all do. I think it's all just there. It's a matter of health and whatnot. And yeah, I'm with you. Like it would burn him. He is a champion. There's no doubt about that. He is a champion. I'm sort of the school of thought that what he did, 2014, 15, 16, 17, and obviously 18 as well if you count that there as well. That's not going to help us in 2022. So it's not like, yeah, he's obviously done so much for the club, but he's not making excuses for himself. So why are we? I think he's the most harsh critic of himself. But it seems like everyone wants to make excuses for him.
Mate, I'm with you. I think when you look at someone like Cripps, right? I think he will be thinking, when you listen to Ollie Wines talk about 2018, Ken Collins called him slow, behind the 8 ball with today's game. The game has moved on. He hasn't got the kicking skills to keep up with today's game, and they should look at offloading him, maybe to Carlton because they're a bit shit, right? Look at the comments about Cripps, right? He's slow. Game's gone past him. Taking the game on too much. He's not quick enough to do it. He's kicking gash, right? If I'm Cripps, I'm thinking Voss in the Brownlow speech was mentioned by name for bringing it back to basics. See ball, get ball, give ball. Cripps must be thinking, I'm way better than Ollie Wines was 2018. I've been there. I've been MVP. Voss, do it to me. Because I guarantee you now, Voss, pound for pound, Cripps is a pound for pound better footballer than Wines. Wines can't turn a game. Cripps has done. And he's done it 3 or 4 times. So for me, this is the impetus Voss needs. Like Chris says here, he's stagnated because he's never been challenged. I think Bass Smith said it as well. Carlton have never been challenged. When they do, they shrivel up. They're going to be challenged now. And like Gavin says, he's been injured. But why have these players been expected to play? Voss is going to demand perfection and standards. And that is a situation now where some of these players are either going to shrivel away or they'll step up because champions love a challenge. And they've got it now.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've got a question, a good one here. I like it. This is from OJ Dumsday, who made an $8 donation. Thank you for that. And the question is, do you get sick of seeing rumors about having such a hard start to the year? Heard rumors about playing D's round 2, but didn't know if it was true. I love this question. I hate seeing just excuses in general. I just hate it. Like it's just loser talk. I want to play the top 4 teams in the first 4 rounds. I really do. Make it as hard as humanly possible. You know, I really don't like the rhetoric around it's rigged and the league's out for Carlton and they just want to make it harder for us. And I don't want an easy fixture. I want it to be hard. I want there to be no questions about when we succeed. I want there to be no questions about doing it the hard way. I would prefer to do it the hard way than the easy way.
Mate, I don't want gifts from the AFL. I don't. To be a champion in my eyes, you've got to beat the best.
Yes.
And I always question EPL winners that didn't beat the previous champions. You just were better against the rest of the shit than the rest. But for me, great start. Richmond round 1, round 2, New Melbourne, and then round 3. It'd be great to have the Bulldogs, wouldn't it? The ultimate start. Boys, these are your standards. Richmond, the former champions. Smash these dickheads. Get that fly off your back. You haven't beaten them for 10 odd years. Smash these mubs. Then you've got the reigning premiers. Take them out.
Absolutely. How good
is
that?
And then imagine that. 2-0, the doggies. Bontempelli, crooked nose. Look at me. I'm like Cripps, but I've got a real long ass name. And you go in there 2-0 and you be looking at them boys and you say, you know what? You belong here. Let these guys know you're here. This is our time now.
Well, we're going to get an opportunity to make a statement early in the year, and we're going to fight. And for us, it's great because we're going to know really quickly where we stack up. And you don't want to play the reigning premiers too late in the year because whatever, you play Melbourne round 2, you find out where they're at, you find out where this new game plan is at, and then you've got 20 more rounds after that. If it's not good enough or if it's not quite there yet, you've got 20 rounds to improve.
Mate, I'm with you. And it's a tough ask. Let's say you've got Melbourne and Richmond. You've got, like Hamish says here, don't call for him to be sacked if you're 0-4. No one's naive. When you come and play a game style with actual proper tactics, structure, these boys have never been challenged. I can't tell you how they react. Cripper might shit himself if someone tells him he's not as good as he thinks he is. I haven't got a clue what Cripper's like. I'm assuming, though, that for him to be a champion in 2019, he's got that fighting spirit. So he wants to be challenged. He wants to be better. But if we're 0-2, we're 0-2. But this is a great opportunity for them if they've got them in the first three, the best sides in the comp, to stack up, see where you are. If you get chinned, you get chinned, but get back up and learn from that punch. And that's what I'd say to them. I'm looking forward to it, though, because I want them to be challenged. I want them to look. My dream for them is, because you're going to get all them people saying, oh, we're going to be 0-8. The doomsayers will come if the draw's bad. I would love to see Richmond, Melbourne at home, Doggies away, Geelong away, Fremantle at home, right? They're the first five. And everyone going, we're going to be 1-4, 1-4. And I hope the players see that. And I would love it to motivate them. They go out and they come back 4-1 and be like, where are you now? Where are you now? Because we're here. And that's all they need. This club has never won 3-4 games in a row. They don't even know what it is. Right? And I'm excited, man. Challenge these guys. Challenge them, because they've got there. They're already the best 1% in the country. All they need is a little bit of luck, like you said, a little bit of love, a little bit of hope, some fucking structure, some clue of what direction to go in. And they're a good side, man. They're a good side. And if they don't do it, they've let me down. They've let you down. But more importantly, they've let themselves down. But come on, they can fucking play.
They can.
Let them play.
That's true. Tom here says, you gain momentum early in the year, though. 0-3 is hard to come back from. Haven't made finals in 8 years. Should be getting an easier draw to begin with. I agree. I agree with, you got to win games early in the year, but you've got to win games against relevant sides as well, I think. I mean, what's the point in playing the bottom three from 2021 in the first 3 rounds of 2022, get a false sense of where you are, and then you really come unstuck midway in the year when you play the good sides, and then all of a sudden your belief in your game plan is completely shot.
Mate,
it's an interesting one.
Mate, it's a catch-22. But for me, these boys are good enough, man.
Absolutely, they are.
These boys are good enough. Look at the last 2 years. No one. Right, let's just take the love away from David Teague for a minute. But the guy was your uncle babysitting you. He just let you do what you want. And then he'd tell your parents you were good, but you've been terrorizing the next door neighbor's kid all the time, right? You've been a horrible little tit, right? In reality now, these guys have got structure. You're hearing what Voss is saying, right? He's saying the right things to me, but in real terms, he's not giving me pipe dreams like Carlton are going to find a dragon and we'll make the finals. He's actually saying we need to breed confidence. We need to start small. We need to do X, Y, Z. I love him saying that hard work begins today, right? Spot on. These boys haven't been worked hard. They've always been taught by us at first, then the club followed. 20 points is better than 100, bro.
Yeah, as long as you get within 4 goals at the top sides.
You were good second quarter. Geelong looked shithouse, right? But in reality, all that counts is 4 points. You can play great football. You can play garbage football. But at the end of the day, the Doggies were the best team for me for large parts of this year. You know what? When they had to nut up, they had to stand there, look them in the eyes. They folded like we did against Port. They were no better than us because champions don't fold. So the Doggies season was as wasted as ours. And that's what I'll be telling these boys. Don't fail. Don't fail. Be brave, be bold, play football. And that's all they need.
What a wonderful opportunity to have one crack at it.
I'm fired up now.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Where's Swoop Luke, the big melt? Where you at?
Got Joe over here, just been repeating the comment here. We're not making finals, mate. I guarantee you won't be even following the club at the end of season 1-21, 2018 season repeat. I don't know where you find any positivity. All I see is Walsh leaving in 2024. Jar, not Peen pick. Mate, just giving you some love. We're going to be
You
all
know
right.
what? Ironic as well that he wants to try and make a bet, but he hasn't even put his profile picture there. So,
it is what it is.
Good one. We are making finals, Jar, you big melt. Don't even worry about it. We'll see you in the final. Oh, wait, Collingwood won't get there. So we'll see you in the finals whenever you guys, have Brendan Bolton, Carlton reserves, Collingwood are now. I've heard Sweet Luke's employed a Southerner to be his version of a POM.
Mate, the Collingwood watch along in 2022. I hope we play them twice because I really think you and him, you really did something that hasn't been done before. You and him, the way you guys did that, we've reignited the rivalry and brought it into the digital.
I love Swoop Luke outside of football. Great bloke.
He is the best. I do love him. Yes.
But mate, honestly, I can't wait to play him this year because we're gonna absolutely pull him apart. And I am enjoying Swoop Luke tell me that Kruger could be the smoke eater, kick
the missing
goals.
piece.
And I'm like, bro, he got dropped from the VFL Geelong team. Like, we're bad at recruiting, but we've never signed someone that's been dropped VFL wise.
No.
So, mate, I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it.
I'm hoping also, I know Essendon have the Sash podcast, but like, where's the Essendon fan channel? Where's that? Where is that? That is what is needed for next year. I think we'll start seeing the emergence of the fan channels in the footy world.
Genuinely, drug dealers keep on the down low because, as you know on YouTube, you've got to file your tax returns and, the feds find out where you live quite quickly. So, I mean, that could be a problem for the Bombers, but I'd love it. Like, honestly, like, instead of wasting your time creating fake profiles to take pop shots at me, and I'm 36 years old, I'm an old man, I couldn't care what you think. Like, create a podcast and come on live and abuse me face to face. It'll be a right laugh. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, that's what I'm hoping for, just sort of, for the fans, because I really do think it's going to evolve, and I think the Carlton fans have, at the top, we've really grasped the whole opportunity. It blags my head how there is not like there wasn't like a Richmond fan channel back in 2017 when they just started turning the corner. But I hope to see a bit more of that next year. I think it'll come.
Mate, my dream is to do watch-alongs with a melt from every other. I mean,
every team.
I enjoy being hated by opposition people. It really does make my year to see every time I put a post up on Twitter, I get a DM from the Pies fan, right? And it's brilliant because some of the Pies fans, I hate to say it, are really nice. Like Bella, she's in here. Keb's in here. There's some real, like, Gomas there as well. They break my heart because some of them are really nice, right? They actually are nice people, right? But honestly, I love the hatred game day. Like, I go through my Collingwood inbox at 3 a.m, and some of the messages, honestly, are brilliant. They amuse me.
It's great. It's the white line fever. That's also the beauty of the rivalry with Luke. I think we nail it because, like, I love him right now. I really do. I've got so much respect for him, and anyone that's like doing a YouTube channel, like, we get it. There's a lot that goes in that not many people know about. So those who stick the course and put in the grind, there's a love, especially when there's such a small community of you in this league. But once we play them, and once it comes to like creating content and seeing, like, if you post something about Carlton or whatever the case may be, like, I go to this like dark, evil place, and I wish things in my head on him that, like, I shouldn't. Like, it's pure white line fever.
Oh, mate, it's amazing because, like, you've got, like, Sal's right. I should give the Aussie and the Blue Abroad crew some shout outs as well because it's amazing game day. Like, I know Adrian Sal, he was in there. Jeff, all of the usual messers were in chat as well. You've got the wonderful girls as well that follow our channel, that they all were in there, Shan and stuff like that. Like, it's a great coming together. It was great to have that, and that rivalry for me needs to stay. Like, it's great. I love being on Twitter at the moment and Sweet Luke fires a pot shot, and then he's PMing me saying, "Your Carlton fans are saying that you've got pink hair. Shut up, sit down." Someone's just told me he's put a fiver on Pom knocking me out round one. And I love that because at the end of the day, like me and Sweet do get on, but like on game day, if we're together, I will glass him on a live stream.
It's the best.
I'll feel bad about it in the morning, but I'll do it.
Yeah. I've got another one for you. This name's popped up a bit. Ramiro has asked here about Jesse Motlop.
Jesse Motlop.
Ramiro, love the Lakers get up, by the way, Ramiro. That is sensational. Have a look at that.
He's a great friend of the channel, Ramiro, as well. He's been around.
Well,
in the nice way.
From Facebook and made the transition to YouTube, so I'm all about that. But he says Jesse Motlop would be the draft play we need. He's from my neck of the woods in the NT. Plus, he's not eligible for father-son because Daniel Motlop didn't play 100 games at Port or North Melbourne. I have no idea about him. Pom, do you?
Mate, Jesse Motlop, I can reveal a sneak preview. He is one of the 5 that Pom has whittled down, Mr. Motlop. But he is right indeed. He's got speed. He's smart. He's crafty. He's got a goal sense. People will get excited as well about him because even though he's part of the Fremantle NGA, with the new AFL rules, Fremantle have to get rid of him. And he has played a lot of waffle football as well. Highly sought after them. There is a game, I think, on YouTube. He plays the Swan Districts and he has 13 touches, but they are 13 touches of pure orgasmatron stuff. He's crafty. He plays on the wing as well. Plays a bit in the forward line. He's X Factor, and I think Carlton doesn't have a natural X Factor player since Eddie. So I think he would be. He just fit the bill. There's a few of them there, but he's definitely one that if Carlton chose, there is a lot of high from him versus a lot of low. I've got a sneaky feeling though that Carlton will flirt with a Victorian and they'll take a chance because I think Motlop is very good, but I think it's about his money 25.
Right.
And I think there's a few Victorians that I would say if they played a full year would have been top 20, top 15, some even top 10. There's a few guys there, 2 of them I've earmarked that were top 10 this time last year before whatever we're experiencing, COVID, whatever it's called now, was here. So I think the smart play, and Austin seems to be sneaky with this, that there's a few guys they think is dropping, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another name pick out. But if we get him, he's brilliant.
Yep. Well, those in the audience, stay tuned because the draft preview video that we do every year for every pick, the videos will be coming out soon. I love putting the pressure on you, Pom, because you've got it. You've nailed it every time. The last 3 years we've done it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you can come up with this year. But tonight was fun. Had a lot of fun.
Hey, mate, it's always good. It's
always good. Always good getting the OGs in and getting the white hoodie back on. It fits me now, so I'm happy with it.
We've all got shaved heads as well.
Yes. Are you keeping the shaved head or are you just going to let it grow out?
I don't know. I don't know. I've had my wife hates it, but what has thrown me is a lot of the girls at work like it, and a lot of the fans like it as well. So it's thrown me. Is my wife just being mean?
Yeah, I've got
I'm beautiful. She's won the lottery.
Yeah, absolutely, you are, mate. We're both beautiful. I'm going to get the fade. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to roll with it for a little bit longer.
What is amazing is how easy is it to get ready in the morning?
Oh, mate, I've been doing my hair for 30 years. Not anymore.
Like honestly, how easy is it? Like just to get up and be like, yeah, that'll do. Just go. It's so good.
It is. No, it is. Anyway, Pom, love ya. Thanks for coming on, mate. Sorry. One more thing. I promise. One more thing. I forgot to say this earlier. I'm really proud of this. So, Ethan, who does the thumbnails for the Blue Abroad games, he just got a gig with Melbourne United. So, he messaged me the other day. It's so cool to see him get the opportunity. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram, it's Ethan Ali FX. Please go and show him some love. We're very proud of him, and I knew he would get picked up, and we've got a good little cohort of young guns coming through, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many more success stories can come through Blue Abroad and out up and onwards for their careers. So well done to you, Ethan, and Sam Aliano, his dad as well, who's on Twitter. He must be stoked.
Mate, there's some great ones. Congratulations, Ethan, though. He's absolutely nailed it. But, I mean, you've got Ari as well. I love Ari. If you're into the round ball, Ari Stamanakos, I think I haven't massacred that too badly.
Stamatakos.
They are. Sorry, Ari, mate. But, yeah, he writes some absolute ripper football. If you are a Liverpool fan, he's got an article up there on Salah. And, yeah, it's great to read. It's great to read. Not at the moment for me, but it is a good read.
Love it. Now, I've got a few more coming through. I've got my eye on there's some talent coming through. We're gonna work with them and see how we go. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Pom, take it easy, brother.
Cheers. Love you.